Hello, everyone. I'm Karen, and along with my co-host Selma, we want to thank you for joining us on today's special Ultimate Health interview. Today we have a scientist, hence the white coat, who's also a good friend of ours as our very special guest. He'll be talking about how one simple habit can become your secret weapon for creating the kind of security and health you've always dreamed of. And what is also shocking is it just starts by simply listening your way to having more. Morry Zelcovitch has been researching and studying the effects of sounds and tones on mental state for well over 20 years. And after undergoing extensive training, he became one of the few certified brainwave entrainment engineers in the world. Morry is the creator of a new proprietary technology which uses sound to evoke certain brainwave states that help the listener experience truly beneficial results. It is called Brain Prints. It literally rewires your brain with a new blueprint for wealth, health, love, success, or anything else you truly desire. Welcome to the Ultimate Health Summit, Morry Zelcovitch.
Thank you very much, ladies. It's my pleasure to be here, and always a supreme pleasure to speak with the two of you.
Oh, it's always ours. So,
he's such a schmoozer, isn't he? Just a
yeah, he is. I think it's that white coat that gives him that kind of feel. You know, yeah. Dr. Morry is in the house.
So, how's that? Is that better? Not more like Elvis,
right? Okay, dear listeners, the promise we're going to make to you today is you're going to be intrigued by Morry because he is like that phoenix rising from the ashes. His life too now is that, you know, I really like that Pharrell Williams song, Happy, you know, bring me down, can nothing bring me down. But you know what? It wasn't always that way for him, not by a long, long shot. But then life was totally different for Morry about 35 years ago. So Morry, I want you to take us back to your life then, you know, the suicidal thoughts, the depression, hearing thousands of voices and so much more, and why you needed to invent something to help yourself or you would have died. And how you know, really literally took Plato's words, necessity is the mother of invention. So talk to us about transitioning time in your life. And now you're like that James Brown old tune. I feel good.
Like I knew that you could now.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's interesting. You pretty much said it all. I mean, I can just sit back and, you know, have a tea, I think. And
we want the details. We want the story.
I'll just nod in approval if you're right, and if you're wrong, I'll just go like this. The truth of the matter is I used to wake up every morning, you know, and look out the window and want to see mushroom clouds. And that's not because I particularly like mushrooms, but it's because I wanted the whole world to be dead around me. That's how depressed I was. It wasn't enough just for me to go. Interestingly, though, if you really want to die, it's pretty easy to do it. You know, you can drive a car 100 kilometers an hour into a wall, off a bridge, you know, gun to the head. You know, funny enough, I didn't want to live. I tried to end my life, but apparently I wanted to live more than I wanted to die because I kept living. I wasn't calling out for help because no one knew that I tried to do any of these things. Mm-hmm. I kept them all totally quiet. I figured someone would find out sooner or later if I succeeded. But it turns out that if I couldn't find a way to die, I had to find a way to live. Mm-hmm. And I started looking and looking and looking because, you know, that's the instinct, right? There's people wiser than me out there. There are a lot more people that are a lot wiser than me. And, you know, I'm probably not the first person who didn't want to be around and didn't want to live and hated life and hated people and hated everything. And I figured, you know, there must be solutions out there already. So I tried lots of things. I tried hypnosis, I tried meditation, and I even tried something that they called brainwave entrainment back then. Mm-hmm. Nothing really worked. And it's very depressing when you realize you're severely depressed. And when you keep thinking, you finally have a way out and you can't get out. Kind of like walking through, you're in a cave system and you see light at the end of this tunnel and you get excited because finally there's a way out. And I'm walking and I'm walking and I'm walking, but the cave is getting lower and lower and lower. And by the time I see the light, I can't move any further because it's way off in the distance. Or so I turn around and I start walking in the darkness more. And then I see another light and I get excited and I walk to that light. And this time the cave isn't shrinking. So I'm getting even more excited. Except when I get there, it's a dead end and the light's coming from way up and it's like this big an opening, you know, and that's what my life was like. It was nonstop pain and nonstop disappointment and nonstop not understanding anything. But as I'm trying all these things, I kind of realized that maybe there's some messages here. You know, funny, through the depression, I was getting messages anyway. And the depression actually became my friend because it led me to discover certain things, certain facts of life, certain facts of how my mind works, my brain works, neurochemistry, all these things turned me into a scientist, turned me into the, like you said, the happy guy, you know, I am today. And I truly am happy. And don't get me wrong, it's not like things don't happen that you might define as bad. You know, 2 months ago, I couldn't move. Yeah, I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis.
Oh.
Okay, and my hands, I couldn't even do that without being in excruciating pain. My wrists, horrible pain. My shoulders wouldn't move. And if I did move them even a little bit, it was like someone's bashing me with a baseball bat. Same thing with my hips, by the way. For over a month, I couldn't keep one position for more than a couple of minutes. And when I went to go to sleep, I would have to rock myself to stand up. If I sat on a couch or a kitchen chair, I needed help standing up. You can imagine what going to the washroom was like for me.
Wow.
I mean, it was absolutely horrible. And for a month and a half, they didn't know what was going on. They were giving me all kinds of weird stuff because it hit me like someone flicked the switch. I was walking out of my office. I took 3 steps in the hall and suddenly I couldn't move. I was in excruciating pain nonstop. I went to lie down to go to sleep. I'd wake up every 5 minutes or less from excruciating pain. So I didn't really sleep in 5 weeks either. I finally found a doctor who put me on prednisone, okay, which is a very strong drug, but I'm happy he did because that night I started getting relief. Okay. And they put me on arthritis medicine too because I went to a rheumatologist who said, well, you have, you know, they thought it was something else because when the shoulders and the legs lock up, it's called PMR, which is brought on by a virus normally and it tends to go away. But because my hands were screwed up too, he said, no. Well, in the meantime, I started, you know, using my recordings a lot more often than I used to. The medicine that they gave me for the arthritis, the first one I had to stop because it gave me horrible stomach problems. The second one gave me a full body rash. I had to stop that one too. Well, I went back to the doctor after not being on any arthritis medicine, sent me for more x-rays, he sent me for more blood work, and he said, I can't believe this. I don't think you have rheumatoid arthritis anymore. I think you have, it's like a temporary form of arthritis brought on. It's called transient arthritis. It's brought on by a virus. That's what he thinks now because he saw that I'm getting better even without the medicine.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've never heard of transient arthritis.
Look it up. It exists.
I will.
It's rare,
Dr.
okay? I don't
Google.
get stuff that's rare and unique. I don't want something everybody else has, okay?
No, you want to be distinctive there, Morry.
That's right. I am my own person, okay? Even though I'm wearing
that's
a white
right,
like
yeah.
every other scientist. But so the end result is that, you know, my recordings did not make me feel better. I needed medicine to help me do that, okay, to get me over the worst of it. But I'll tell you something, through that agonizing torture of 5 weeks where I could barely move and I wasn't sleeping and I couldn't eat and everything was horrible, I was still laughing. I was still going out and doing things despite the pain, despite it all. And that's because I chose to control my mind. Because I couldn't control what was happening to my fingers or my hands. I was doing what I could do. I was seeing doctors. I was eating things. I was having cinnamon is supposed to be very good for arthritis, so I was having cinnamon every day. I was doing what I could do. Right? Watching my diet, everything. It's important that we take responsibility for our own health. Just because you see a doctor, that's great. But don't just see a doctor. We have this great thing called the internet now. Okay? And great shows like this, where you can hear alternate ways of thinking, which sometimes is enough to get you through the worst horrors in your life.
Yes.
Believe me, don't know if I'd call this the worst horror in my life, but from a pain respect, it's probably the longest term excruciating pain I've ever dealt with. Now you're seeing my face, right? I'm not wincing, but I'm talking about this, am I? I bet you people out there are thinking he's full of it. He's making it up. But I'll tell you something, I went through all of it. Okay, I'll show you medical records if you don't believe me. There's actually a sign, there's a blood test for inflammation factors. Okay, it's called the C-reactive protein. And when I first got tested, when this was just starting, okay, not really knowing what was going on, anything over 6 is supposed to be considered bad. I was 7.5.
Wow.
When this thing hit me, I was 68.7.
What?
Okay. Over 6 is bad. I was almost 7 times as bad. Actually, I was almost 10 times as bad, right? Over 10 times as bad. It was horrible. Okay. But I was able to stay calm. I was able to stay positive, and I knew, quote unquote, this too shall pass. That is the benefit of what I do. Okay?
Right.
And that's, you asked a question, I bet you didn't realize it was going to have such a such a large answer, but I felt the need to explain to people that I have dealt with my pain, and that's why I can talk this way and not be emotionally attached to it. And that is the most important thing in dealing with life, whether it's pain, whether it's stress, whatever it is going on, the ability to be able to stay calm, to think straight, and to understand that, there's a way out of it. And pain teaches you that you need to pay attention to things. It's not bad. It's your friend. Depression was my friend. This pain was my friend too. You know what? I go to sleep at a more reasonable hour now. I drink more water. I do a lot of things differently now than I was doing before. Because despite who I am and despite everything I was doing, I was pretending like I'm from Krypton. I'm Superman. I can do anything I want, and it's not going to make me pay. Well, you know what? I was lucky that this transient arthritis hit me, because it could have just as easily have been a massive heart attack.
Exactly. Yeah.
But Morry, like we're in the different times now. Not Superman. You can be also Wonder Woman.
That's right. With the bracelets. Well, that's the problem though, right? We all fantasize that we're stronger than we think we are, and we don't realize that our health doesn't turn on a dime. This thing affected me instantly, or it felt like it affected me instantly, but it was building for years probably. To get to that point. And had I, realized and been smarter and learned lessons earlier, I probably could have avoided it. And this is the lesson to learn. When we understand the dynamics of something, it takes away the fear and the mystery, and it allows us to see things for what they are, and it allows us to be more honest with ourselves, and thus we can be happier, we can be healthier, we can be more successful. Not having money is a symptom of your attitude. It's not a symptom of the economy. As a matter of fact, the richest families in the world made their money during depressions. So people need to understand. And I think the reason why I went into the story so deep is to let you know that we kind of bring these things on ourselves, and normally they're being brought on to teach us something. Have I ever told you guys about my mom and the stove top? Okay, very quickly. I'll tell you.
Tell us. We want to know. Inquiring minds want to know.
I'm like 6 years old. Okay, my mom's on the phone talking to her friend. This back in the day when phones had wires.
Those little curly ones.
That's right. And for those of you young people out there, everything we saw was in black and white too. It wasn't just the film. Actually, everything was black and white. So he's on the phone and she's cooking. And of course, I want her attention because she's not giving any to me.
Yeah.
But I see this orange thing glowing.
Oh, yeah.
So fascinating me, right? So I start reaching out for it. And she looks at me and she goes, honey, don't do that. You'll burn yourself. Very sweet, very tender, right? Beautiful. So I pull back. And then when she's not looking again, I go in for another try. And this time she goes, honey, don't do that. You're going to get burned. Now she's a little more terse, right? Then the third time I go in again and she slaps me. You see, I can do that and it doesn't hurt. Isn't that amazing? So I'm just so grateful. So, you know, she does that because I'm still not paying attention. Well, either the fourth or the fifth time, she didn't catch me and I burned the crap out of my hand. And I didn't do that again after that. The moral story is the universe, God, your subconscious, whatever you want to call it, loves you. And if you don't listen to the lessons it's teaching you, it will get louder and more forceful and more in your face until you do listen to the message. So if you're walking around in life thinking life sucks and the world sucks and you always have bad luck and blah, 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 it's probably because you are defining things as bad. When we define something as bad, we push away and we ignore it. When we define something as a learning experience, we learn something from it. If I had listened to my mother and learned from her the very first time, I wouldn't have had the slap on the hand. I wouldn't have had the burnt hand.
Yeah.
It's my fault, not the world around me.
Yeah.
It's my fault because I didn't listen. So all I'm saying is everything that happens to you happens for a reason.
And we have to take responsibility for those things.
Yeah, exactly. And try to learn something from it, because anything that happens that you define as bad or you normally define as bad, usually there's some kind of a lesson there for you. Even having, pain is a lesson. Pain is a sign that something's not right and you need to pay attention to it. If both of us had heart attacks running next to each other on, treadmills, and you didn't feel pain and I did, I'd stop and maybe get medical help. You'd keep running and drop dead.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. That's
Pain
right.
is our friend. Discomfort is our friend. All these things are our friend. We just have to realize that they are and listen to them.
Yeah. I've mentioned this to other people before. You just got to listen to the message. Well, I don't hear nothing. It's like, they're just not quite sure how to hear the message. So what would you say to that?
Actually, it's so easy to hear the message. Don't try.
Oh.
Just open
be.
yourself up. Yeah, just be. A lot of people, we're brought up to think you have to make an effort to do everything. And if you don't make an effort, nothing happens. But in reality, sometimes we make an effort and it takes us down the wrong path. I want to be happy. And the only way to be happy is if I have lots of money. So I spend 10 years making $1 million because I think $1 million is going to make me happy. So I make $1 million, I'm not happy still. Well, maybe I need 5 million. So I spend another 5 years because I've learned something in those first 10. So I spend another 5 years. And now I've made $5 million and I'm still not happy. I go, but that's 15 years now used up. Now maybe I need 50 million or 20 million. So I'm going to work hard. And now I've wasted another 10 years. So now it's 25 years I've invested in making money, thinking that's going to make me happy. But the money didn't make me happy. So maybe I should spend all that time just trying to be happy, which means you don't try anything. You become aware of your surroundings and aware of the things that make you smile and make you feel good. Earlier today, I went for a walk on the beach and it was finally sunny here after months of rain.
So seize the moment.
That's it. And we're walking beside a beautiful lake, Lake Ontario, massive. My wife is from Eastern Europe. For her, it looks like an ocean or a sea. Yeah. They're not used to seeing a lake where you can't see the other side, right?
Oh, it's huge.
And it was just gorgeous, absolutely life-affirming. It was just beautiful. But that's what I mean, everything is there for a reason and everything happens for a reason. And if you want to understand these things, don't try to understand, just open yourself to it because you'll get the message. And if you don't get the message right away, it's because you're learning things you need to know first. I didn't meet my wife till I was 47.
Okay.
if I had met her before that, we'd just split up because of all the crap that was going on in my life, right? But I could have been whining and complaining, why am I with no one? Or why am I with the wrong one? Or blah, blah, blah. You know what? Why am I stuck in traffic? Why am I this? Why am I that? We can find negatives about everything. But you know what? There was one time I was stuck in traffic that I know for sure it saved my life. Because if I hadn't been caught behind these guys for like the 30 seconds of standstill traffic, I would have been under a bridge at the time when a car fell over and it would have landed right on me. That was my estimate. And it stopped me from having something happen. So the next time you're in traffic, don't get upset. Take a breath and thank the universe for keeping you from hitting someone when you're crossing the street, or from crashing into a lamp pole or losing control, because everything is happening for your benefit. And when you have that attitude, you will always be able to find benefit. You know, I could never find a solution in my life to anything. I never believed there was a solution to anything. I believe now that there's always an answer. And now that I believe there's an answer, even when I don't know, it comes to me every single time because I believe it. And when I use, you know, the entrainment and when I use the brain prints, that's what I do. I have as my intention that I will see what I need to see when I need to see it. So if I don't see something when I think I need to see it, it's only because I don't need to see it and I'm wrong. Just like the guy who's trying to earn millions and millions of dollars because he thinks it's going to make him happy, and it doesn't make him happy because he thinks in a direction and that guides him and misleads him. Instead, you know, open yourself to be happy. That's why you want the money, right? Because you think it's going to make you happy. So instead of wanting the money, how about want the happiness instead? And just open yourself to your emotions. Hey, you know what? Talking with Selma and Karen makes me happy. I want to do that more often.
It makes us
So
happy.
I'm going to do that more often.
I'm happy too.
But that's my point, right?
Yeah,
So listen, you know, the only rule is whatever makes you happy shouldn't hurt or be at the expense of someone else.
Yeah.
And that's it. Other than that, be happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I talk to the birds outside. That makes me happy.
Beautiful.
Yeah, yeah.
And I bet you they talk right back to you too.
They do. They say, hey, Jake,
Yeah,
get
they-
out
they
of here.
crows,
We're
they
trying to
come
get you
conglomerate.
strawberries.
Yeah, the crows, they're always,
Non-GMO.
you know, Karen is, the crow is always going to conglomerate on.
But you know, it's okay
Well, you
because
want
I
to
talk to them and then they say, okay, we know that you got this to do or that to do. We'll just, you know, sit here. Yeah, I do
Well,
that.
there's a lot of beauty in the world. You need to appreciate it. You know, and you need to look for it. Whatever you look for is what you find. So if you're looking for misery, you will see misery everywhere. If you're looking for beauty, you will see beauty everywhere.
Absolutely.
And I went from seeing darkness, black abyss to beauty at everything I see. You know, my wife can't believe it. We're driving by this field that for some reason is this massive field and it has these gorgeous purple and white flowers.
Oh,
Like
nice.
billions of them. It's got to be billions because it's as far as the eye can see. And every time I drive by, I point, look, look, look.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's just so wonderful. And she says, wow, I can't believe you're a guy and you can't get over the beauty of these things. I say, you know, you didn't know me where I came from.
Yeah.
Believe me.
Lot better than those mushroom clouds, right?
Oh, yeah. And much more beautiful than the mushroom clouds.
Yes, that's
Mushroom clouds dissipate after a while and just leave radiation and fallout.
Yeah.
The flowers, the beautiful smell, and it's just the mood. You know, people need to pay attention to their mood. And they'll see certain things make them feel crappy and other things make them feel good. And then it's simply a matter of avoid the crappy things as much as you can and expose yourself to more good.
It sounds so simple, doesn't it?
It actually is simple.
Yeah.
It's a
but
choice.
People want to complicate it all, you know?
Well, it's not always people who want to complicate things. Sometimes it's us so-called experts who you know, like to complicate things because it makes us feel self-important. I can tell you when I was trying to look for solutions, there were a lot of so-called gurus out there who, you know, I mean, they were doing, I won't mention names. Most of them aren't doing anything anymore anyway. But the people that were around back then, a lot of them didn't seem to really care about making people happy. They just wanted to sell their books.
So talk to us about brainwave entrainment. You know, because I did Google and, you know, a lot of names coming down and stuff like that. And, you know, but then you're always in the forefront. So tell us about that. Like, how do you stand out from all of the rest? Other than your experience and your research and don't
Well, I
forget.
think that's the biggest thing. I think I do my own research is the most important thing. I have 2 studies up on my website already. One of them is from the Brazilian military and a university called Mato Grosso University in Brazil that show the effectiveness of what I do. It was done independently. I was called by a captain in their military and asked if they would mind, or if I would mind if they would do it, and just be an advisor on how to do the study, and then they would do everything else. A university in Jamaica did pre-math test anxiety studies with my recordings as well and found equal results. So these things are repeatable. But, the entrainment itself is an interesting thing because it doesn't require effort.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's a research project going on right now in an emergency room in a busy hospital in Germany. Not on the patients, on the staff.
Okay.
Because they're under incredible stress and they often work double shifts. They
Sure.
can work 24 hours at a time, no problem. And, so far we're getting early results that they're all sleeping better. If they, now not on the job, hopefully, but,
That's cool.
but they are sleeping better, which, a lot of studies show that if you sleep better, you're less likely to make mistakes. Now, it's one thing to make a mistake, you print up a report on the wrong form. It's another thing to give someone the wrong medicine. So it's more involved like that. But what the brainwave entrainment does is it doesn't require effort. And this is the real important part here. It's not a class. It's not a course.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't even have to, you said in the beginning, listening. Listening is a bit of a misnomer because you don't actually listen.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to be exposed to the vibration. See, sound doesn't actually exist. A lot of people make that mistake. You're hearing my voice, but every single person who hears my voice hears it a little differently because that's how the brain interprets the vibration. We know that that's how you have bones in your ear, you have hair in your ear. And what happens is the vibrations come in, they get interpreted by the brain and converted to sound. That's how it is. Okay? And interestingly enough, it's the vibration that causes the entrainment. So if someone is listening, they should be using headphones, not earbuds. Too small a surface area that's vibrating. Your head is going to hear the sound the same, but it's not going to have the same effect.
Mm-hmm.
People need to understand that sound doesn't exist. Okay? Sound is simply a product of your brain. I have people who are deaf, or at least claim to be deaf, using my products, and they still get entrainment. Because as long as there's connected tissue, the vibration still happens. And the neurons still entrain. See, what happens is if I have a pulse tone going, ba, 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 that's what it's like. The sound is like hitting a surface.
Sure.
And it's causing a vibration. That vibration makes it through to the brain. The neurons, which are your brain cells, start pulsing at the same beat. It's kind of like a monkey see, monkey do thing. And when they pulse at those different rates, they release different neurochemistry, endorphins, hormones, neurotransmitters. And it's that soup that's created that makes you feel the way you feel. People need to realize that there's no such thing as good or bad. We define that ourselves. Ultimately, even death isn't bad. If you love someone, you cry. If it's someone you never knew before, you kind of feel bad for a second and you move on. What's the difference? Death is death, right? One person dies, another person dies. It should be the same. But it's not because we judge it that way. When we make a judgment, it also creates chemistry in our brains. And that chemistry allows us to feel the way we feel, act the way we act, react the way we react. So understanding now that when you're happy, it's because you made a decision to be happy. And then that created chemistry that allows you to be happy. If you're turned on, the same thing happens. You're aroused, but you're not aroused instinctively. You see things and hear things and smell things, and that makes you decide, hey, I'm aroused. And like that, chemistry is created, which makes you experience physiological and psychological, emotional stimuli that make you feel aroused too. But everything happens as a result of a decision in your head. Now, when I was severely depressed, I was reading all these books and getting all these great ideas on how I could change my thoughts, because I realized that my thoughts are creating this crappy soup, this crappy chemistry, which is then making me think more bad things. which is creating more bad thoughts, which creates more bad chemistry, and so on and so forth. For me, that's what the depression was. Okay. So I realized if I could change my thoughts, that should change my chemistry, and I could break the cycle. Problem is, no matter what I did, the chemistry was too strong. I couldn't break the thoughts. Chemistry would keep producing and keep getting negative thoughts. And that's when I came across entrainment. Even though what I found didn't really work for me, I realized that, because I got delved into the research, that it should have worked. So I figured out what they were doing wrong. I fixed what they were doing wrong. And I thought, okay, I can't stop my negative thinking. What if I can change the chemistry? So I have a negative thought or a series of negative thoughts. It creates negative chemistry. But what if I could find a way to change that chemistry before it resulted in more negative thinking? And that's what the entrainment did for me. It changed the chemistry enough that suddenly, when someone wanted to help me, I could hear them instead of hearing blah, 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 blah. Suddenly, I wasn't thinking bad thoughts anymore.
Right.
The more positive thinking you get, then you create more positive chemistry. That helped the entrainment to work even better the next time around. And then the next time around. And I use it all the time. Yeah. Because I'm not stupid enough to think now that I am Superman, right? I thought I was Superman and I couldn't bend my hands. I learned my lesson. So now I know better, and I know that I have to take care of myself, and I have to exercise my brain all the time. And doing that allows me to keep moving forward and to keep producing what I call a good tasting soup as opposed to soap water.
Yeah.
And so how long, Morry, do you use that every day?
I listen myself. When I'm in need, I listen more often.
Oh, okay.
When I was going through my severe depression, I was up to about 4 hours a day, maybe 5 hours sometimes. Okay. Because remember, a guy wanted to kill himself and depressed, dark and everything. I couldn't work. I couldn't do anything. So I might as well, at least I got some joy while I was listening, right? Yeah. And then after time, it got better. When I went through this section, this 5 weeks of pain, I was listening probably 3 or 4 times a day. So that would be about 2 hours.
Yeah. Okay.
And normally I listen between half an hour and an hour a day.
Okay. Okay.
And so, admittedly, I'll miss a day here and there.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, because life happens, right?
Yeah, but you have to remember, it's okay to miss brushing your teeth, in the afternoon, as long as you brush it at night. If you don't brush your teeth for a few weeks at a time, your breath is going to get really bad. Your teeth are going to fall out. Gums are going to go bad. A lot of things happen badly if you don't brush your teeth. A lot of things happen badly if you don't shower or bathe semi-regularly. So there are certain things that you're going to have to realize are things that you should be doing on a regular basis. People go to health clubs all the time to exercise their bodies.
Yes.
I don't know anyone other than me who exercises their brain on a regular basis. There's a lot of my customers who do now too, because they suddenly are realizing, I used to do a job when I was working for other people where I was actually doing my entrainment at work twice a day. I got everything finished in half a day, and I was able to start working on research for my brain entrainment at this job all afternoon, because what everybody else took a day to do, I was doing in half a day with time, lots of time to spare. And, I was doing my job. I was doing everything they asked me to do and more. And I still had 3-4 hours a day to spend on my own at the office, learning and growing and developing. Because you become more efficient.
Well, I was going to say, become hyper-focused almost, right? Yeah.
Sure, and you become better. You become faster and stronger. Everything gets better. If you
you're happy, one thing, right? Yeah, you're happy.
It's just like you're in a much better mood, so you do.
Exactly.
I had a customer who called me up last week. Actually, sorry. Yeah, it was last week. And he told me that he lives in Greece and he swims to an island every day. And then he swims back. And it normally takes him like 3 hours.
Wow.
And it took him an hour and a half, and he was frightened because it didn't feel any harder on him.
Yeah.
Because now when he's swimming, he's not fighting the water. He's one with the water. And he was actually exerting less energy. He was smoother and moving faster through the water.
Wow.
He was blown away.
Well, the Olympic Games are coming up. Say, hey, a couple of years there, it's got to be the Morry method there.
Well, it couldn't hurt.
Yeah.
I'm a tennis fan. There's a tennis player that's been my favorite for a while. He's falling on hard times, and I've tried to get through to him, but
Okay.
his people won't let me through. But I guarantee
Okay. The gatekeepers, eh?
Yeah, I won't mention names.
Yeah. Well, if anybody's listening, if you
Lots of people
know there's
are
some
people.
tennis players, Morry is available. Hey.
There you go.
So if you're a tennis player out there who's fallen on hard times, call Morry.
There
Yeah,
you go.
that's right.
My pleasure to help. Even if you're not a tennis player who's fallen on hard times, I'm here for everybody. That's what I love more than anything else. I do this full time. I don't have a day job. This is my day job and my night job, and I'm available. I'm there for people, and I don't charge.
And that's what we love about you. You're
I
just
care about you. I want you to be well.
Yeah.
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 You do.
Simple. Thank you.
So why do you think people feel stuck?
Because they tell themselves they feel stuck. Because they open up the newspaper and they watch television and they're programmed to feel stuck. We still live in a world where the rich think there's a limited amount of cash out there and there's a limited amount of wealth out there. And they want you to think stuck. They want you to be stuck because they think that, if I have $1 million and you have 10, and then suddenly you have $500,000, that means I only have $500,000. They don't realize that wealth is abundant. Everybody could have more than enough for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a matter of if you have, then it's taking away from me. If you have, it's actually adding to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's all a matter of attitude. We think these things, we'll watch all these violent TV shows and movies that are very realistic. They could happen. And we don't realize that it programs us to be psychologically afraid of lack, afraid of crime, afraid of being attacked, afraid of being raped, afraid of being stolen from.
That's why we don't watch the shows.
War.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. So I don't watch any of these crime dramas or anything. Nothing that is believable. Something that is, I'm okay with violence if it's fantasy. The kind of thing that you can watch and there's no way in the world you believe this could happen.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's okay because you're not programming yourself to be afraid.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the problem. People do things. It's like eating. Okay? We don't understand why we're fat. We don't understand why we're in pain. We don't understand why we don't sleep well. We don't understand any of this. And yet, we're thinking about why we don't understand any of this while we're downing a Big Mac and a large fries and a chocolate shake.
Or a cruller from Tim Hortons.
Or a cruller from wherever or whatever. Like we're just shoving in garbage like crazy. What do you expect is going to come out of garbage? Garbage
in, garbage up.
That's right. And when you put garbage in your eyes and in your ears, it's going to come out garbage from there too. So, we have to get away. But you know what? It's kind of like aspartame. There was a time when aspartame was put in as an artificial sweetener.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, if you look at the ingredients, even if sugar is the number one thing, which is also wonderful for you, but sugar is the number one thing, you'll see down the row, it'll say aspartame too, because now they know that aspartame is highly addictive.
Okay.
So if they put it in their products, you're going to chew through it a lot faster and spit it out and have another piece and another piece. When I was a kid, I'd put a piece of double mint gum in my mouth, I'd chew it for 10 minutes, and that would be it. Now, it's like the whole pack is gone in 10 minutes because you just keep shoveling it in because you're addicted. Coke, the same thing. And I don't mean cocaine. I mean Coca-Cola.
Yeah, Coca-Cola.
All these things. They're all designed to addict you. They don't care. A lot of people even think our medical services are designed to treat rather than to prevent because there's more money in treatment than there is in prevention.
Yes.
It's a sad world, but we can avoid these things by learning, by opening our eyes, and by avoiding things that program us to think poorly, to act poorly, to feel poorly. We can all do that. You want to be successful? Stop watching all this violence because it brings you down.
Mm-hmm.
So it's exciting to watch a car chase, and it's exciting to watch guns firing all over the place and the choreographed fight scenes and everything. But it's not good for you. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like, I've been very drunk. I used to abuse alcohol, among other things. So I've been very drunk and I had a great time. But it was tearing me apart inside. Mm-hmm. So you can't fool yourself thinking that these things are good for you just because they're available and just because they're legal. It's legal in my municipality to have 5 cats and 5 dogs. So I'm going to have 5 cats and 5 dogs.
I know.
How's that good for the dogs or the cats, you or anybody?
And so I think it really comes down to common sense, which
Not common sense.
uncommon
Common
sense.
sense is like normal. Normal is if everybody's obese, the normal is obese,
Yeah.
right? If everybody, cuts themselves on their arms, that's normal. Okay, that's also common. We don't want to confuse the issue here. It's about people understanding that they have control. I think that's the biggest problem. They think they've given away their power or their power has been stripped from them. You can never lose your power because your power is how you interpret things.
Yeah.
And as long as you understand that whatever situation you're in now is a direct result of decisions you've made, then you can decide to make other decisions. And it doesn't matter how many so-called bad decisions you ever made in your life, because that doesn't matter before. All that exists is now anyway.
The power
And
of
you
now.
can make better decisions today, and your life becomes better today. It doesn't wait. You don't have to wait for years for it to get better. It'll start getting better immediately as soon as you start making better decisions.
Yeah.
Break those habits, break those addictions we have to violence and to this and to McDonald's and to all these, to chocolate bars, all this
I know
crap.
dark chocolate's really good for you. Dark.
Well, some pure organic dark chocolate is good for you.
Yeah.
But, to get a Mars bar dark isn't good for you. I had some guy arguing with me the other day because I was saying, stay away from Monsanto and Monsanto influenced companies. And he was telling me, I had a list of products that use different products that Monsanto may have touched. Coke and Pepsi were one of them. This guy is trying to tell me that Coke is owned by so-and-so and Pepsi is owned by so-and-so. They have nothing to do with Monsanto. And I said, are you trying to tell me, first of all, they do use Monsanto ingredients, but you're trying to tell me that Coke and Pepsi are good for you? And they always show, the commercials are wonderful because they show people laughing and singing and they're always thin and they're always happy and they look beautiful. Yeah, right. They're the real people. Go to a Walmart and see the people buying 15 cases of Coke and tell me what they look like. And they're nice people. They're good people, but they have been programmed the wrong way and look at what's happened to their life. And then they feel like their life sucks. Why? Because they've been sucked in by the marketing. They've been sucked in by all this. And it makes me cry to see people like that. Because, a lot of people laugh at them and go, oh, they're stupid. They deserve it, blah, blah, blah. No, they don't. They were exposed and overexposed. That's one of the tricks, reverse engineering, that I learned with my brain prints, that you have to learn how you got programmed badly in order to know how to program yourself properly.
Okay.
Because the bad programming works so well. We just need to change the content. Use exactly the same philosophy, just change the content.
That's
and
right.
all of a sudden, you'll have a better result.
Yeah.
Talk about love, you feel love. Talk about war, you feel war.
Wow, wow, wow.
So, Morry, don't talk about
what you're hearing or seeing, you've changed the channel, right? That's pretty much it.
Yes. That's it exactly. A client told me that actually, and I thought it was the most brilliant thing I've ever heard. If you don't like what you're watching on TV, you change the channel. And when you change the channel, you're changing the frequency.
Yeah.
How does that apply to brainwave entrainment? Because we apply different frequencies to your brain. It literally changes how you think.
Yeah.
Because, when you're thinking miserable, when you're thinking bad thoughts, again, this is all because of this churning going on in your head. When you change the chemistry, you're doing that by changing the frequency, because depending on how many times your neurons pulse a second, that dictates what chemistry is produced, what kind of soup is made. And that's the trick. By changing the chemistry, we're changing the channel. And if you don't like what you're watching, if you don't like your life the way it is, it's easy enough to change the channel. I saw the whole world dark and horrible my whole life. And then suddenly I was able to see things I couldn't see before. It wasn't because people were telling me things or teaching me things. Suddenly I was able to see things differently. And it was purely because of the gray matter here. And the only thing I did differently was the entrainment. That was it. Nothing else was different. I was still eating the same garbage I ate. I was still doing the same things I did. I did everything. The entrainment it had to subtly change my chemistry, which changed my perceptions. And everything else changed from there. It's amazing how fast the change can happen once you get into that flow.
Well,
How quickly did it work for you?
Well, for me, keep in mind that it was a long road to come back from. I was noticing changes almost immediately, but really, it took about a year for me to start noticing real changes. You have to remember that I was so far down and I had been so depressed for like 35 years or more. That's a lot of depression to try to get rid of in 3 days.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
But look at you now. Look at you now.
Yeah, but look at me now. And I can talk about all of that with no emotional attachment.
Yeah. So, Morry, can you just maybe tell us about your new baby here, the Prince technology there?
Yeah. Okay, so Brain Prince actually was designed, I try to be aware and I try to listen to my customers and my clients. So I have a technology called triliminals. Okay? And triliminals involve me speaking to you in your left ear with information and affirmations designed for your right hemisphere. In your right ear with information and affirmations designed for your left hemisphere. And then a voice in the middle designed for both hemispheres. Okay? Now, the beautiful thing is that's how perception works, by the way. In the left goes to the right hemisphere and it crosses over. So what I did was I came up with a great technology. It works fantastic to reprogram what I call negative reflexive thought processes. That's that instant negative thought when something happens, as opposed to why not think neutral or why not think positive instead of the boss knocks on your door and wants to see you. Why not think they want to give you a bonus?
Yeah.
Or
time
promotion.
off.
But time off. But everybody instead is afraid they're going to get fired. Well, here's the pink slip, right? So this is the attitude. So this is what it's designed to change, that negative reflexive thought process. And it works great, but you have to listen at least 3 times a day. It's a half an hour recording, okay? At least 3 times a day, lying down with your eyes closed, comfortable volume, and stereo headphones. Because what it does is it's designed, again, based on how we learn. And it speeds up the process a lot. So in a couple of months, you can accomplish the same kind of exposure that you would get in years of actual life. So just because it took you 40 years to get a certain way, I don't want it to take you 40 years to change, right? That's not quite fast enough for people. But within a couple of months, they should be able to notice some major changes in how they think and reflexive thoughts. The problem is a lot of people say, like you said, life gets in the way, and they couldn't find the time 3 times a day. I'm a scientist. I'm not a woo-woo guy, okay? I'm not going to tell you something just to make sales. I have to tell you how it works. The dynamic of your mind, the dynamic of your brain is such that for you to reprogram these negative thought processes, you need a lot of exposure.
Yeah.
And you need to avoid the violence and you need to avoid the negative. And if there's negative people around you, you got to try to limit your exposure to them too. But people were saying, we don't have time for this. We don't have time. I'm seeing results, but not as fast as I'd like to. So that's where Brain Prince was born. Okay. With Brain Prince, it's subliminal entrainment triliminals. Get the full triliminal
really fast with the potato in your mouth.
Well, I don't know where, we don't have potatoes. And the only thing I have is sweet potatoes and they're way too big to get in my mouth. Okay. But what that does is, okay, is it's subliminalized the actual triliminal. So you can have it playing over a speaker in the background and the right hemisphere, the left hemisphere, and the center will all be affected in a similar way as if you're wearing headphones. But on top of that, it is the first time in the world anywhere, and you will see other people, because people, I guarantee you, will be going on Google after this and typing in subliminal entrainment, and they'll see a bunch of products that claim to have subliminal entrainment, but they don't actually work. You can subliminalize entrainment, sure, but first of all, you have to do it properly, which almost nobody does in the first place. Secondly, you have to be able to activate it, because the way entrainment works is you hear a pulse externally. It creates, like I explained earlier, the frequency following response. The vibration happens, it turns off. It happens, it turns off. That's what's necessary to create entrainment.
Yeah.
So how do you create it when you don't hear it? Well, what I did is I came up with something called the entrainment initiator. You have to listen to that one properly. Headphones, lying down, eyes closed. It's a 30-minute recording twice a week. That's it. When you listen to it twice a week, what that does is it teaches your brain what to feel and how to react when this frequency is experienced and noticed. The interesting thing is that you listen to this twice a week. When you then put on the Brain Prints, which have many different topics, and it's an interesting way because you actually make your own listening program. Everyone makes their own unique program with brain prints. But what happens is that when they're listening, their subconscious picks up the entrainment tone. But because they don't actually hear it, they can't get entrained. However, because of the entrainment initiator, their subconscious recognizes the tones. They're exactly the same. And because the subconscious recognizes it, it's like exercise. Okay? Ever hear of muscle memory?
Yes.
If you go for a jog and then you imagine yourself jogging, your muscles and your body acts as if it were jogging.
Yeah.
Your brain works the same way. So it picks up on the legitimate entrainment that you're doing twice a week. And then it starts having the same subtle effects on your brain that your muscle memory has.
Genius. Absolutely genius.
That came to me because I knew there was something missing. And that the night before when I came up with this discovery, I realized that there's something missing from my brain prints. I got to figure out what's wrong with it. I got to figure out what I can do. And I went to sleep. And I woke up in the morning and I'm having this dream that I'm at a TED Talks and I'm on the stage and everybody's applauding this great discovery and I'm listening because I want to hear what it is because I know it's what I need. And then I started explaining this whole thing about the entrainment initiator and muscle memory and everything. And I'm smiling because I'm half awake, right? I'm in that reverie state. And I'm thinking, oh, this is amazing. I'm going to go back to sleep now. When I wake up, I'm going to write all this down. And I closed my eyes and I said, no way. I got up and half an hour and an hour or 2 hours later, I had everything figured out, tested, perfect. It works, everything fine. And there you go. So that's why my subliminal entrainment actually works. Now, it's not as strong as hearing it, but it doesn't need to be as strong because the beauty of brain prints is that you just have it playing in the background all the time. Because with triliminals, you have to listen at least 3 times a day. The brain prints aren't going to be as strong, but you can play them all day long.
Right.
You can play them at night when you go to sleep too in the background because it's just like sound. That's it. That's all you hear.
Yeah.
And they all have different topics. So another advantage of the brain prints, and I'm also very proud of this, is that we have like 80 different brain prints now, and I'm adding new ones all the time. They're all on different topics. Now, a spoke of a wheel is stronger the more spokes there are. A wheel is stronger the more spokes there are. If you have 2 spokes, it's going to bend and warp. But if you have 50, it's going to hold the wheel stable. It's the same thing with your issues. So what we do is we have like 10 different brain prints on each page in our website. Okay? And what happens is, very interestingly, is you say, let's say I want to quit smoking. Okay? So I go through my brain prints. Okay? And interestingly enough, I say, okay, I want to quit smoking. And the ones that I look at each one at a time. Okay? And the ones that jump out at me, I click and add to cart. So maybe I end up with 4. I go through the whole list, I end up with 4 that jumped right out at me. That's your subconscious telling you, these are all aspects of my smoking habit.
Okay.
And so I add them to the cart. Let's say I want to be a better public speaker. So I do the same thing. I start at the beginning, and it's the same time though, okay? And I click. Now, it won't let you get 2 of the same thing. So if one of them jumps out at you that you've already picked, it's already in your cart. Won't let you buy more. So you go through, maybe there were 5 there. So now I have 9 brain prints. And I go through for a few other choices or whatever. Let's say I end up with 12 brain prints. I get the initiator free, because that's a really important part. I download my 12 brain prints. I just start playing them in a row, over and over and over again. If I do it every day. If I can only listen to 2 today, then I start at the next 2 and so on. But I play them in the background, Your brain can handle millions of functions every second. You can certainly handle working on a few different things at the same time. Even if you have 12 issues, it doesn't matter. Even if you listen to 80 brain prints at the same time, you just keep rotating through them. It doesn't even matter the order you listen, okay? But you're getting all these projections and all these affirmations and all these statements that are reprogramming your negative self-talk to something positive. And
So
you
kind
will
of
start
like
noticing.
an autoplay kind of thing, right? Where it just kind of...
Yeah, you can put it on autoplay. Now, if you're going to listen from your phone, I suggest putting it into airplane mode and hooking in either a Bluetooth or a wired speaker.
Okay.
Because they're coded at certain frequencies that phone speakers and tablet speakers won't be able to reproduce. And there's other things that I do that I can't really get into because they're my unique technology. No one else knows about them. But they're there, and they make, yeah, exactly. But they make a difference, and it helps. And that's the whole idea behind brain prints. So they take a very effective technology that's also new and innovative, but it also helps people who don't feel they can lie down for an hour and a half over the span of a day and give to themselves the full treatment of triliminals.
Yeah.
And it makes up for the fact that they're a little weaker by the fact that you hear a lot more of them.
Right, it balances itself out.
Watching TV too. Yeah, you can put them on the background when you're watching television. As long as you can, in the background, if you concentrate, hear the sound.
Yeah.
The little background mask. As long as you can hear that, if you concentrate, it's loud enough for your subconscious to be getting all the information it needs. Okay.
Wow.
I wouldn't do it while you're driving, but otherwise, any other time you can do it.
Okay. So we'll have those details at the bottom of this page here.
Yeah. You can
Right,
just
Karen?
click away and let your subconscious do the shopping.
Yeah, literally, because you're your own guru. I've always believed that. I can't, I know brainwave entrainment, I know subliminal technology, I know these things, but I cannot know about you. And anybody, really, even the brilliant authors that you've heard of, again, I won't mention names, but the really big name people, they can only truly teach from their own perspective and their own experience.
Exactly.
It's incumbent on everybody out there to be able to say to themselves, these people aren't giving me a blueprint. Now I'm giving you a brain print. But these people aren't giving you a blueprint that you follow step by step by step. They're giving you ideas that are supposed to inspire you. And when they inspire you, you take them into yourself, reinterpret them within your own sense of reality and experience, and then take action based on that. That will work for you. Because you need to mutate.
Because then it's your own. Yeah.
That's right.
And then
your
it's
own
completely tailored to you and what you need.
Exactly. And then it'll work. And maybe that's why if you've tried other people's things or books or techniques, maybe that's why it hasn't worked. And you need to revisit them this time, reinterpret and reinvent them for yourself.
Yeah.
And then take action. See how it works.
Yeah.
Well, there's a reason we enjoy having you with us, Morry. You always, you make us laugh and you give us information and many aha moments. So we're always so appreciative. The name of our summit is the Ultimate Health, Live Life Well. Can you give us 3 kind of habits that you maybe go through on a daily basis that gives you that kind of joy and happiness, I guess?
Sure. Okay. First thing is get good sleep.
Oh, that's
go to sleep at the same time every night. Yeah, and wake up at the same time every day. Believe it or not, it makes a massive, massive difference. Change is very important. Okay? So it's very hard for people to change and to do things differently. So what I suggest is the old toothbrush routine. If you keep your toothbrush on the left side of your sink, put it on the right and leave it there.
Oh
my head,
God, I
start
don't
adjusting
know how to do that.
You will.
Yeah, don't do it with keys, though. Don't do it with keys.
Don't do it with keys. Yeah, don't try to plug the key in the other side of your car or door or something. But you can do that. And believe me, the little discomfort you feel when you reach for it here and then you end up going here is enough to teach your brain or to reteach your brain that change is okay. And then the smaller changes result in bigger changes. And then you can do things differently. And believe me, big, massive changes can occur just because you did something small differently.
Like with the toothbrush.
I find is the easiest one. Or even if the soap is on one side, put it on the other side. If you have your shirts in your closet on the here and then your pants here, switch them around. Little things like that will feel uncomfortable, but it only feels uncomfortable because you're changing things. And you want to change things. That's why you're on this summit, right? You want to learn. I'm sure people aren't just watching me. Okay, they're watching everybody in the summit because everybody's got something to give, and everything is valuable. And you know what? Everybody watching could probably give valuable things to the rest
I'm sure.
of us too.
I'm sure.
And half the people watching today might be talking next year.
Yeah.
You never know.
You don't know.
If you do little changes, that can make a difference. The last thing I would say is do things for other people without expecting a thank you. Okay. I used to let people in. Here, come on. Come on in. Or hold the door, like while I'm driving, or hold the door at a mall, And when people didn't say thank you, I wanted to kick them in the head. Oh, you son of a, I don't know why I let you in. Well, I stopped doing that, and I started doing it and realizing that I'm doing it because I want to be nice.
Exactly.
Maybe they have things on their mind. They're not being rude or impolite. Maybe there's something on their mind. Subconsciously, they appreciate it because they took the spot that I gave them, or they walked through the door that I held open. So you know what? Do something nice for people and make a habit of doing something nice for people. And I'll give you one more, a bonus. You asked for 3.
A bonus number 4.
Bonus.
Okay.
Exactly. So this one is easy, but it involves, again, a little bit of work, but it's important. When we write something by hand, we actually create new neural pathways. So when you go through your day, I want you to spend the rest of your day looking for things to be grateful for. And the reason why you have to look for things to be grateful for is when you go to bed tonight, the last thing you do before you lie down is you're going to write down 3 times each, 10 things you were grateful for today. They have to be something you experienced or noticed. That
But
made
then
you feel
what,
really
you
grateful.
write down the same thing 3 times?
Yes. Each thing, 10 things, write it down 3 times because you really want to make a good groove in your brain. Okay. With the
List of 30 there, right?
There's going to be 30 total. That's the last thing you're going to think about before you close your eyes to go to bed. Imagine that. 10 things, 3 times each, that you're grateful for. What a wonderful way to go to sleep, right? Then when you wake up in the morning, you're going to take that same list, you're going to write it again. 10 times 3. You don't have to write paragraphs. You can be like bulleted versions.
Okay.
But you have to write them down. Okay, I don't want to give you carpal tunnel. But, okay, and that's what you're going to do. And then through the whole day, you're going to be keeping your eye open for 10 things because you can't take notes during the day. You have to write it down originally when you go to sleep. If you take notes during the day, you might find 10 things by 9 a.m. and then you stop looking for things to be grateful for. The whole point of this exercise is twofold. 1, you want to have the right attitude in your head when you go to sleep at night. 2, you want to start your day really well. But 3, you want to have a good day too. And if you know at the end of the day, you have to write down 10 things that you're grateful for, you're going to be looking for things to be grateful for all day long. Because you may not remember what happened at 10 or at 11 or at 9:30. So you're going to be looking all day. And imagine how much better your day is going to be when you're looking for good things instead of
And gratitude is a practice that we've been doing for years ourselves, but this is a new spin on it. To write each one down 3 times. That's a real new spin.
Yeah, and only in the morning and at night. Don't do it during the day.
Right.
Okay. If you want, though, the notes that you've taken during the day, you can fold up and put in your wallet or in your pocket or on a shelf, and every time you see the paper, pick it up and look at it and read it.
Well, those are feel-good moments, eh?
Oh, yeah, they're great. And it'll retrain you also to thinking more positively and to be thinking better about things. And you'll see, you'll have more patience for people who used to annoy the crap out of you. In other words, you'll like me again.
You always make us feel good.
It's amazing. People don't realize, I have a radio show, okay? And on this radio show, what I do is, it's a short one, only half an hour. First half, I explain a problem. Second half, I give usable exercises like this for people to do to change. If you actually take the action to do these things, your life will change all by itself, just by doing these little things. It can't be helped, but changed. People need to understand this is how your mind works. This is how your life works. It's the dynamic. I'm a scientist. I've reverse engineered all of this from stuff on how we learn, how we act, how we became what we are now, because that's the most effective way, right? It made us who we are. So I take those techniques, I convert them into something that works faster, but I use the same principles, and that's why they work. Do this exercise. Both of you do the exercise, report back to people later. And anybody out there, do the exercise. Let everyone know. Let your friends know. Let me know. Let someone Karen know. Let everybody know. Because your success is our success. And if you're happier tomorrow, I'm happier tomorrow.
Let's see, we're doing a good deed every day for somebody.
Exactly.
So if you don't want to share it with us, that's okay, but that would be nice.
A smile's nice too.
Well, we can't thank you enough,
Thank you.
We always, we enjoy it. You always bring a fresh perspective.
I love you ladies too.
Oh, we like you.
Oh,
love, we love it. Thank you, Morry.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much, Morry. Always,
My
always, always. And you're always welcome. You know that.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Knock on our door, knock on our Zoom door. Can I come talk to
It'll be my pleasure.
you? Okay.
And then you'll make our gratitude list. Yeah, Morry come to visit. Oh.
You guys made mine for today.
And ours, because we're always learning something new from you.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you.
we thank you.
And
Thank you.
big hugs to absolutely everybody watching this episode of the Ultimate Health Summit. Until next time, live life well.
Bye, everybody.